Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the World Panel discussion. My name is Dr. Kenyon Williams. I am the chairperson of the World Percussion Committee, and we're so pleased today to have a legendary, actually three legends, I should say, of percussion in multiple ways up here on stage with us this afternoon. Tonight, we are going to have a special concert that pays tribute to one of the legends here, Mr. John Bergamo, and is, of course, for many of us, sort of one of the first fathers, if you will, of hand drumming in the United States. And last year in our panel discussion, the committee was sitting around discussing what we're going to select for this year's discussion. And Chris Sampson, who will be acting as a moderator, came up with this wonderful idea. He said, if we're going to be putting together this concert tonight, we ought to not only recognize John, but ought to also recognize several of the other legends of percussion who have some of the first Western percussionists to really explore this music and to try to find ways to perform it authentically and find ways to not only learn about it, but then to teach it. And these are some very influential people in this panel. Just out of curiosity, can I see a quick show of hands in the room for people who have either studied with or have studied with people who have studied with through any of our panelists here on the stage? If you raise your hand right there. I think if you actually, tonight, if we ask this question, I wouldn't be surprised if about half the audience raised their hand in a crowd of thousands. These are some very influential gentlemen. So, ladies and gentlemen, bringing you the World Panel with John Bergamo, Emil Richards, and Bob Becker, moderated by Chris Sampson. Thank you.
Sit right here the closest.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Why don't you come sit here?
Oh. With the abandoned ship here. Oh, thanks,
Are
man.
you going to give me one more water? Or two? We have 3 or 4.
Just like at the day bar.
Buy 2 more water?
Pushing your stool. Yeah.
Thanks, dear.
Thank you. That's fine. Thanks, man.
Well, thank you for joining us today. As Kenyon was saying, when we sat down last year to decide what we would do this year, I had proposed that we inaugurate and honor John into the Hall of Fame. We make him famous through our legacy here, and everyone thought that was a good idea. But I said, let's do a panel on his contributions, and we started talking about the contributions of many of these other teachers. And for me, the question arose out of a teacher that many of you might know here, Ray Dillard, who was my tabla teacher, where I got to walk into a college and just sign up for a class and take tabla. It was something you kind of take for granted nowadays, that you can study the aspects of gamelan or djembe in the colleges, but someone had to bring those instruments in at some point. And some of them were natives of other country, like we have our honorable guest here for tonight, Mr. Pandit Swapan Chowdhury. So we had a lot of people, also with seeing Valerie here, we had teachers like Kakra Balobi, who we miss already. But we have these 3 gentlemen here who really are some of the early pioneers of this fusion. And I'd like to ask them for the next 50 minutes to tell us what that was like, what it was like when it wasn't there, any resistance they had, and just basically their thoughts of how this has developed over time. So if it's all right with you guys, I'd like to go ahead and ask John to lay down some history and some perspective on that. So how did this all start for you? What is your thought?
You mean being involved in some kind of world music project?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it was, back in 1964, and I was teaching at the University of Buffalo then, and we had an India festival. So we had all things from India: dance, film, music, lectures, you name it. And I saw live for the first time someone playing tabla. It was Shankar Ghosh. And I had heard it before as a matter of fact, the first time I ever heard it, a friend of mine played an album for me. It was an album, Chatur Lal. And he said, I want you to hear this drummer. And I listened to it. I said, that's not one guy. It can't be one guy. It's got to be 2 guys. One guy playing the low sound, one guy playing the high sound. So I lost a $5 bet on that particular thing, because it did turn out to be one guy. So I was just blown away. Because, I mean, I was playing drums and playing like Western drums and, you know, and trying to play mallets and stuff like that. These are the masters of the mallets right here, these guys. But anyway, that's coming summer. Someone told me about this music school in California run by Ali Akbar Khan. They said, you should go there, man. You don't have anything to do. I said, I don't got to go there. So this guy dared me. He said, I said, okay, I think I'll go. So I had some money saved up, and I had nothing to do, so I got on my VW bus and drove out to California, and that was it. I was just hooked from the first day. And I knew right away, I was 26 years old at the time, or 25 years old, I forget, and I knew right away that I was not going to be a tabla player, but I would be damned, I was going to learn what that was all about. And I spent that summer just practicing. And my first teacher, Mahapurush Mishra, was very cool. His English was interesting, I'll say that, but he got the message across, and it was a lot of fun. And he actually became a really good friend of mine. So that was the beginning that I had, and then it just snowballed after that. So.
Follow up on that. What do you think? How did that affect your sense of composition? Because you had studied a lot of Western composition with people like Carl von Stockhausen and that repertoire, but now you have this other stuff coming in. How did that affect it?
Well, form-wise, I've used the different kinds of Indian tabla forms, because there are certain things that, you know, there's one thing that are called fixed compositions. In other words, they're a composition that, you know, it's been handed down from generation to generation. There's probably thousands of those, and there's several different kinds. But then there's also the other side, which the improvised ones, where you get a theme, you just get a theme, and then you improvise on that theme, and just theme and variations. And usually, what happens is when you sit down with a teacher, they will give you the variations to begin with. And then after some time, of course, then there's no, like, so many years, et cetera, but after some time you're on your own and you do your own stuff. So that's what it was about. And it's just the whole aspect of it just blew my mind. Plus, the food was always great. Never doubt that.